Good evening, America. Welcome back to another episode of Break the Machine podcast. And as part of our quest and our promise to the J6ers that we had on January 6th, we will continue to bring stories of these patriots slash political prisoners. Really, is what they were. Most first and foremost, they were political prisoners of the past government. Things have been changing. There's, in my opinion, not changing fast enough for a lot of these men and women, and we have to continue to support them. We have to continue to make sure that their stories are told, and make sure that what happened to them never happens to any other Americans ever again. Despite how you may feel about it, I mean, they get a lot of hate on all the social media platforms, but those same people who were giving them hate, if the shoe was on their foot, they would be crying up a storm and whatnot, because they just, these Marxist idiots don't seem to get it, because they're into Marxism, and they live off the tit of the government and whatnot. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Shane Jenkins in, and all of his links are in the description. He's going to tell his stories tonight, and it's his night tonight. So get ready to listen to it, fam. Uh, Welcome, Shane. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me, bro.
Absolutely, man. Like I was telling you backstage, we made some promises to some people and some pledges, and we're going to continue to honor that pledge here on this show. Like I said, I told you I made a promise, not only to them but to myself, to make sure I do the honorable thing, because I swore an oath to this nation on two, to the Constitution on two separate occasions, once out of high school and then after 9/11. And that oath is going to stay with me to the day I die. So, part of the issues that I saw that got me to actually start this podcast and start this channel was the stuff that was going on with you guys. So, without let's get into it. Let's start from January 5th, because a lot of like there was a lot of activity on January 5th as well. If you were in DC at the time.
Yeah, so on January 5th, I actually traveled to DC on January 5th. I met a guy at the hotel, but before all that, I was flew from Houston to Dallas, and I met a family of three women. I won't mention their name just for their safety, but it was a mom and two daughters, and they are very good friends of mine now. And I got to share, like, because I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, and I got to share my testimony with them. I think I was wearing the ministry that I'm a part of, Charm Prison Ministry shirt, and they were asking me about that, and I got to tell about my encounter with Jesus Christ. And then they said, well, that the husband, the father, was not with them on this trip, and so they were like, well, you seem like a really nice guy. Would you mind being like our protector for this for January 6th? And I was like, absolutely, I would enjoy that, because I went alone to January the 6th. I didn't go with anybody. I had asked people of my friends to go with me, and nobody was available to go. So I was like, I got to go. I'm going on my own. So, yeah,
Oh, I mean, that's that again. There were a lot of stories of like what was going on the fifth, and a lot of that too. A lot of people meeting up with other J6ers at the time, and other Patriots, and yours meeting up with this family. And I think that's pretty honorable of you to stand by them and stick with them, and show them love, and protect them, right? Because we should be protecting the ladies in our nation and whatnot, and especially the godly ones. They're trying to live a good life. They were patriots. They were there on the fifth. So let's get into the sixth, man.
yeah, no,
January 6th.
yeah. And on the 5th, it was an early night for me, because we had to. I know we were trying to meet up at 5:30 down by the Ellipse, and so we wanted to be there early, get a good spot, and so we met down there on January 6th. And the crowd started gathering, and man, it was something to behold. I'd never been to DC, and so to get down there and see the Washington Monument and the White House and all these things, I was like, man, this is awesome. And then to see all the people like pouring in, and then to hear the music start playing, the speeches begin, and just it was like a church concert vibe. People were singing, dancing, praying. Like, it was just something that it felt spiritual. And then we were all protesting what most of us felt like was the stolen election. And so
Which
we
was the stolen election.
yeah, and yeah, so for me, I wanted to be there because, well, there's different layers to it, but if nothing changed about the election, I knew Donald Trump was going to be leaving office on January 20th. And I had never been to DC, never been to a Trump rally, never been to a rally period politically wise anyways. And so I just thought I'd take the opportunity to go and see him, maybe his last time in office, and then get down there and hope to have my voice heard. I didn't even know anything about going to the Capitol, which was odd. But we wanted to go to the Capitol because supposedly Mike Pompeo and some other people were going to be speaking at the Capitol after the speeches
Oh,
and the lifts got done. A lot of people don't remember that. Um,
I didn't even know that. Honestly, that I never heard any reports of that. So you just taught me something from that day.
they had they had a group of people that were supposed to speak there, but so I stayed at the ellipse until all the way till the end of the Trump speech, and he went long. He came out late and went long.
Right.
And so they had already breached the Capitol, I believe, at like 12:30, and I want to say he didn't get done speaking almost till like I want to say like
Almost 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Yeah, it was late, and so um, the girls wanted to go to their hotel room and freshen up, and so when they went up to do that, I went across the street to get coffee and protein packs, and they came back down and I passed out the coffee and all that, and then somebody pulled out their phone and they're like, "Oh my gosh, they stormed the Capitol!" And I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Let me see." And they showed me an article, and it was sure enough they had stormed the Capitol. And so I was like, "Man, y'all, I'm going down there. I got to go see what." I was like, "It's happening. Whatever it is, something's going to happen. Trump's going to stay in office." Like I didn't know what it was, but I was like, "Man, I'm going to the Capitol." So I sprinted from the hotel all the way down. I think that was like the Hilton. I may be wrong, but I sprinted about, I don't know, 6-10 blocks down to the Capitol. Came around the west side of it, and it looked like somebody had kicked a fire ant bed. You know what I mean? There people were climbing all over that scaffolding and the
Yeah.
big flag. And by the time I got there, they had already climbed up onto the lower West Terrace inauguration stage and all that. So I was very late getting there. They had already
Right.
yeah, well, what a lot of people don't know too is that like at 12:30 when the initial breach happened, like before there was one main group, but also off to the side, like where the people would be coming down, I don't know what that road is, Constitution or whatever it is, Avenue, towards the Capitol by the Peace Circle. They were taking down ski fencing and they were moving the bicycle racks that were over there while the police watched them. The police gave them thumbs up. It was on Revolver News. Darren Beatty showed that
Yeah.
at 12:30 they were moving the trespassing signs and all that, and that was way before I got there. But when I got there, I climbed up onto the to the lower West Terrace and worked my way up to the window to the left of the lower West Terrace tunnel. And I stood there for quite some time watching the crowd push against the police in the tunnel. Then I started seeing people go in the tunnel. At this point, I'm just watching kind of what's going on, and I'm like, God, I wanted, I didn't. There was no plan to go in the building, and I was just like seeing
Right.
what was going on, and so I started seeing people come out of that tunnel hallway. Like I'm talking like they had a hat like this, like with mesh on the side, but they
Yeah.
were like pouring blood coming down their face. And I'm like, what is going on? I look at this one guy, and this is what really upset me. I looked at this one guy, and he looked like my grandpa. And I was like,
Mhm.
man, there ain't no way that that dude did anything like that. And I hadn't seen, now there was some like the crowds pushing against the police, and they're like, heave, ho. And it was like this tug
Right.
of war, like back and forth. But there wasn't like people were just going in on the cops or anything like that. And so then I see these
Right.
people coming out of the tunnel, getting the crap beat out of them. And I remember like thinking, man, what after person comes out bloody, I was like, man, I look at this window and this is why I should have had somebody with me because I was not thinking properly. But I'm thinking these people are getting the crap beat out and I'm trying to push their way through this line right here. And I was like,
Right.
why don't we just go in through this window? If we're going in the building, we know they're letting people in on the other side. Why don't we just go in this window? It's a freaking window. I mean, I broke a window out on a house before, you know what I mean? So
Was it the window that that one agitator that one Fed broke and everything like that nobody knows who he is and stuff like that? Was it that same window?
So yeah, I was actually the first one to hit that window. And what was crazy was I was standing there and I'm like, I'm like thinking, if we're going in the building, let's just go in this window. And I had tomahawks in my backpack, SOG Special Operations Group tomahawks. And I was like, man, this dude told me, I was like knocking on the window to see how hard it was going to be to get in the window. And I know people are like, and this is what was crazy is I pulled out the tomahawk and I started hitting the window, and the crowd was like, no, we're not Antifa. We don't do that. And I was like, I hit the window a
Right.
few times and I was like, okay, they don't want to go in the window. I was like, all right, so
Right.
I'll put the tomahawk up and I quit. And so I was like, if
Right.
they don't want to go in the window, I'm going to go to the front line and see why these people are getting the hell beat out of them.
Right.
So that was my next move, was to go to the front of the line, and I worked my way through the crowd. And before I could even get up to the front of the line, like I got pepper sprayed in the face 4 times, and I'm probably 15 feet from the police, and
Yeah.
so I get sprayed in the face 4 times, and I'm like, I have to turn. I pull my hoodie up and I turn my back to them, to the police, and I just kind of start wiggling my way backwards up to the front line through the crowd. And it's like, you ever been on the floor at a concert? Like
Yeah.
it's like packed. And so,
Like the mosh pit.
yeah, and I'm trying to get up to the front line, and I get up there, and finally I get up to the front line, and this dude, cop officer Bagshaw, pulls out his extendable baton and he starts going in on Victoria White, who was next to me. Like my back's to the police behind me, he's
Yes.
right here against the wall, and he like is going hard on her, hitting her, and he in the middle of all that, he hits me on the top of my head, and like cracks my freaking skull. Like it left like a big red cherry knot on my head, and then somebody popped some kind of tear gas or something, and I couldn't breathe anymore. I already can't see from the pepper spray. Now I got hit in the back of the head, and I couldn't breathe. I was like, man, I got to get out of here. So I climbed out of the tunnel while he's beating the hell out of Victoria White. Um, and I get outside the tunnel, and I'll remember I went back over to the ledge where my backpack was at with everything, and who I know now is Ryan Nichols. He's a Marine from Houston, or not from Houston. He's from East Texas, a very good friend of mine now. But he was on the ledge with a megaphone, and he's like, my dad just texted me. He's like, uh, they just shot and killed somebody inside the Capitol, and so I'm watching people get beat. I've got sprayed and I've got beat. Now this guy's telling me somebody's got shot and killed inside the Capitol, and I feel like you're stealing the election from us on top of all of
Yeah.
that. And I'm like, man, I was like, hell no. I was just like, enough was enough for me. And so at that point, I really blacked out, because in my mind, like when I finally saw the videos after when I got locked up, when I saw the videos, um, in my mind, like in what I thought I saw, it was just me on the steps, and it was the cops, like the riot police or whatever. And I'm like picking up and I'm screaming, "You mother!" throwing
Yeah.
stuff at these people. But in reality, I go back and look at the video. There's people all up on the steps and everything, all around me, moving around. And
Right.
then in the videos, I could see Roseanne Boylan on the ground, like literally like 10 feet from me, like turning blue, dying. Then you see Ronald McAbee pulling her off to the side, giving her chest compressions, and CPR. And it's weird because there was a lot of stuff that I felt like consciously, like I didn't realize it was going on, but I feel like subconsciously, I felt like I was very in tune with what was going on with the crowd. And there's like this crowd psychology, this mob
Yeah.
mentality that kind of takes over. But I threw at that point when I blacked out, I threw 9 different items in the direction of the police. There's no video of any of those things ever actually hitting, like the police not hurting anybody. No police officer identified me and said he threw something at me. Nobody said he hurt. This is he hurt me with the stick or whatever. And it was like flag sticks. Everything was off the ground. I didn't throw the tomahawks I had. It was like
Yeah.
PVC flag stick, crutch piece, desk drawer, like whatever it was I could find, tennis shoe, anything that
Yeah.
was on the ground, I was throwing it. And after that, like basically it like took the wind out of me, and I pretty much left after that. And I went, I went back to the hotel, and we got locked in the hotel. And there's a picture online. If you look up my name, Shane Jenkins, it's like me in the blue 1776 hoodie, and there's it's a cop line, and they're all confront me because there was a curfew. And I remember standing at the door of a hotel, and I look outside, and there's like 150 cops out in front in the street blocking the whole hotel. And I'm like, where are we at? Are we in like China? Are we in Moscow? What, like, these people are forcing us to stay in this hotel? And I went out and they confronted me and made me go back in the hotel. But I just was like, man, this is insane. And so while I technically broke the law on January 6th, it wasn't the window. I will cop to and say that was probably out of line, but it wasn't for just vandalism or reason. It was, I can replace a window, I can't replace a life, and I can't get these people out of jail if they assault these cops to get in this building. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I thought that was a path of least resistance. Maybe it was stupid. The assault, the throwing the stuff at the police officers, man, they were going hard after people. And what I realized, like after the fact, because again, I showed up late and I didn't see all the stuff that led up to all of that. Like I didn't see
Yeah, they
them.
were throwing. They were like chucking grenade with flashbangs and whatnot into the crowd. They hit dude. They're
Yeah,
hitting people in the face with stuff and everything like that. And that but what's also and that we know now, actually we knew then too because the reports came out pretty fast. Was now we know definitively, okay, that the feds had CIs in the crowd, okay, and they had people who were helping with agitation and stuff like that. So we understand that is it was meant to entrap people,
mhm,
okay, in particular MAGA people, people who were upset about the stolen election and whatnot. And it just when they got violent, it set off a lot of people, and
mhm,
I think that's when shit went to hell in a handbasket at that point because you standing by somebody, you see them get hit in the face with a flashbang, okay, that leaves a hole in their face, okay, from the explosion, right? You react to that, so you're gonna react one of two ways. You're gonna either get really pissed off and want to take action, or you're gonna be like, holy shit, we need to get out of here. And I think most people got pissed off. But to add to what you were saying about where you were at, in other places they were actually letting people in,
yeah,
right? So like you guys were, you had that encounter in that tunnel where you discuss where you talked about everything that happened in that tunnel because you were there and you witnessed it, right? But they were actually letting people in other places, and it's like there's tons of videos, tens of thousands of videos of just watching people walking into the Capitol that weren't actually engaged with the Capitol Police.
yeah, no, absolutely. Another thing that was crazy was there's a and I was just talking to Billy Cressman today, and we were talking about there's receipts on this lady named Chalupa. I can't remember her last name is Chalupa. She's a part of the Democrat Party. She was a part of the Russia
Hmm.
collusion hoax and all that kind of stuff. But she paid for 50 Azov brigade members, Ukrainian special forces guys, to fly over here. There's receipts for the flights. There's receipts for the
Nice.
hotel rooms, and then there's video of them on the ground at the Capitol, and not only
Yep.
that, I interviewed a Antifa. They put several Antifa members with us in the jail in DC, and one
Really?
of
They
them,
actually busted some of them? Because
yeah,
those guys get off with everything.
yeah. Well, one guy was in there. His name was Landon Copeland, and my buddy Peter Stager, he had a chance to talk to the guy, and Peter Stager like loves everybody equally. He doesn't care if if you're
Right.
Antifa or not. He's going to talk to you. So he told me, he's like, man, you should talk to that guy. So I had never talked to him. Not, I dislike their actions and all that, but I was like, I want to see what his frame of mind is, where he's coming from, like maybe what his beliefs are.
Right.
But most importantly, I wanted to know what were you doing at January the 6th, right? And so I sat down and talked to him on my Twitter page. I think I know it is. There's a letter that he wrote that he asked me to release to the press for him. But
Mm.
he told me straight to my own face that he was there at January 6th with 18 other Antifa members. And we go back and look at the video, and they're provoking the police, cussing out the cops,
Yeah.
throwing water bottles at them.
That's their MO. Yeah, that's their
Yeah,
MO.
that's their MO. And so now you think, you put your mind in the cops' position. You got these people dressed up in the crowd. They look like Trump supporters. They're throwing stuff at you now. Now you're mad, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
these MAGA people here, and then now they start beating the crap out of people. Then other people see them getting the crap beat out of them. Then now they want to jump in, and now they're
It's a
going,
domino effect. Yeah,
yeah,
it just becomes a domino effect. There are some people, by the way, some of my chat is very, very they're always on top of it. Some of the people wanted me, I'm looking at some of the things. So this is Rogue Nina. She wanted to say hello to you. So she's very, very, she's she's been with me from like day one. It's awesome.
Okay.
This is from Victoria Robinson Carballo. She says, "Thank you, Shane, for being here to share your experience with us."
Absolutely.
Um, and she responded to you when you were talking about the psychology. She says, "I know what you're talking about." So, all right, that's January 6th. Listen, what I appreciate about you is you just said, yeah, man, I'm gonna cop to what I did, period, right? And that's just what it is. This is what I did, and I'm not afraid to say this is what I did. So now, they're going around the country for the next couple of years. They're using SWAT teams to just bang people's houses down and break people's shit up, and just using the force of the government. So at what point did they come and I'm sure they didn't just knock on your door.
No, they didn't. And so there's a lot to that. And I want to say, like, in when I got raided on March 5th, 2021. So just under 2 months, like almost
So
exactly 2
close.
months later. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they came with Houston SWAT and the FBI came. They came in an armored personnel carrier with the top open, with the megaphone. Shane Jenkins come out with your hands up. But what I didn't know was that so I had gone that was March 5th, like the third week of February, I had gone on a ski trip and with my church Bible study singles group. And there was
Right.
like 40 of us. And they freaking, at the airport, they gave me the quadruple S boarding pass, and they gave me
Oh, you got who had Quiet Skies?
yeah,
You
pulled
got
me
put in
out.
Quiet Skies.
Yeah, and they pulled me out to the side, swabbed me for explosives, like going through the initial TSA check, pulled me to the
Yeah.
side, did the stiff pat down, swabbed me for explosives, swabbed my devices, went through my bags. Then they let me in. I go to I don't know if it's the gate or the terminal, but where you board the plane at.
Yeah.
Everybody lines up. That's where I was at. Then before I get on the plane, they do all of that over again. They pull me out of
At
line
the gate.
at the gate, pat me down, swab me again, and let me walk in. Then we flew to Denver. Leaving Denver, we come back, and we are at the airport, and they walk a bomb sniffing dog through the sitting area by where our plane boards at. They make me be the very last one to board the flight, um, and they're like talking to me, like shaking. I'm like I don't know what is going on. They pull me out of line again, swab me, pat me down again. Then they put a bomb sniffing dog on the little tunnel to the plane.
The
Um,
runway, yeah.
yeah, make me walk by him, and then I get on the plane. So I come home, and my friends in the military, they reached out to them, and they were like, "Hey, they had a conversation, and they were like, do you know who this is?" And showed them a picture, and they're like, it's been a couple years. I don't know exactly who that is. I can't tell you if it's him or
Yeah.
not. It's been so long, right? And so,
Right.
but they sent me the conversation and said, "Hey, these people are on you right now." So I knew they were coming, but what I didn't know was that the FBI classified me as a tier one anti-government extremist and comma
Right.
QAnon, I guess QAnon follower or whatever. And to label me a tier one anti-government extremist, that's like Timothy McVeigh or like Ted
Yeah,
Kaczynski
yeah. People who are trying to blow up the government,
or
like
Bin
hardcore.
Laden. Like, bro, I
Yeah.
broke a window and I threw sticks at fully armored riot police. Like, I know that's against the law, right? But like, look on a scale. Let's look
Right.
at
You're
that.
not you're not claiming that you didn't do shit, right? You're just like,
Right,
but tier one
tier one.
domestic terrorism shit.
And then the person they sent to tear up my room and my house and all that was the head of the Houston area or the Southern District, whatever, Joint Terrorism Task Force. Like I was some kind of like
Right.
terrorist mastermind, or you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
Islamic Brigade or something like that. Like this is crazy. And so, they took me to jail March 5th and put me in a cell for 11 days. Didn't let me out for 11 out of that same very cell. Locked the door on me. No telephone, no showers, no nothing for 11 days. And then they finally, under the guise of COVID, and they finally let me out to start taking showers Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But they were bringing me food to my cell door every day. But I stayed in Houston for like 30 days. They loaded me on Con Air, flew me to Oklahoma, end up in DC not long
And
after.
you in the gulag?
Yeah, in the gulag, man. And when we got to DC, they put us in solitary confinement because of COVID again for 17 days. And
Shit.
I tell you what, man, I remember it was me and Julian Cater, the guy they had accused of killing Brian Sicknick, Officer Sicknick, was my neighbor,
Yeah.
and one of the other guys. But I'll never forget. Man, it
The
makes
dude,
me
the
emotional.
dude died after the dude died like was it a day or two afterwards or something like
Yeah,
that
the
from like
next
a
day, but and
stroke or
the
some
medical
shit.
examiner said it had nothing to do with January the
Yeah,
6th.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It was all bullshit.
but
Yeah, but
we're
the media was putting out that he died the day of that
oh yeah.
that you got that that he was killed by J Sixers.
They
He got hit with a.
said
They were
we could
saying he got hit with a freaking
oh, yeah,
what do you call it,
fire extinguisher.
a fire extinguisher, and there's no video footage of that. And anyway, as a matter of fact, they show him walking through Tucker, showed him walking through the Capitol, escorting people and letting them, go everywhere else. But
Yeah.
that's besides the point. But go ahead, man.
No, we were in a so they had put us in an empty pod, and it was just like 2 or 3 of us, but next door, what we didn't realize was all the other January 6 guys, and every night we would hear them at 9 o'clock. We didn't know it was 9 because we didn't have a clock, but we would hear them start singing the anthem next door, and it
Right.
was something that was like it it blew me away, right, to hear our people next door singing the anthem. And so I didn't know yet, but then like after 17 days in solitary, they took us and moved us in with everybody. But it was horrible at first because we were only coming out of the cell like every one an hour a day, right? And some so if I came out in
Yeah.
the morning, like let's say it's today's Monday, right? And I came out this morning, I would come out from like 10 to 11, and then I would be locked back in my cell at 11, and I wouldn't come out at all until the next day till the evening. So it would be past 24 hours. It would be more like 32 hours until I got
Right.
to come out of my cell the next day for an hour. And so it was like that for probably 6 months. Gradually, it was like an hour, then it was 2 hours, and it was like 3 hours, and then they started letting us out 5 hours a day. And then after about a year, I guess it was probably then they started letting us stay out all day. But during that whole time, they denied us. Well, for 1 year, they denied us haircuts. For 2 years, they denied us visits, and for 2 years, they denied us religious services. And sometimes they denied people access to their lawyers, or denied them their discovery, or they would take their discovery for them and then they would lose it, or whatever. So
Yeah.
there was just a lot of it was, I mean, and those things are basic. Like you should be able to maintain your haircut. You should be able to visit your family. How are you going to deny somebody a visit? Like, and they did it under the guise of COVID, saying because
Yeah.
we refused to get vaccinated, that we couldn't have those privileges. But meanwhile, and usually you could be a Christian and get a religious exemption, right? But
Yeah.
we were not allowed around other inmates, but sometimes we would go to medical and there would be another inmate from a different area in the jail.
Right.
And we would always pump them for information, and we'd be like, well, and a lot of them were Muslim dudes. And so I asked them, like, hey, man, do y'all get a religious exemption for being Muslim? And they were like, yeah. And we get to go to the mosque with it. And so they're telling
Yeah.
us we can't, and we don't get to go to church and get communion or do anything else. They won't let the chaplains come see us or any of that. And
Well,
so
the war on Christianity, that's a whole other talk show, right? That's been going on for as long as I can remember. I'm 51 years old, man, and I can remember this war starting on, me physically, visually seeing it in the 1990s was, I started seeing that. So I'm pretty sure it's been going on. Definitely has been going on longer than that. But, listen, it's terrible what they do. And yeah, Jonathan Stevie's my moderator. He says it's what commies do.
that's
It's
right.
true. It's true. The last administration was we were on a freaking speed rail, okay, to communism with the last administration and the shit that they were doing to you guys. Again, um, I get that, okay, we're gonna go after these people, right? Because that's what they decided to do. One is mainly because it was a setup. We all know it was a setup. All right, they had agitators there. They had CIs. They had federal agents mixed in. So like they meant, okay, to lock you guys up. That's what they wanted to do.
That's
But
right.
but there has to be due process, and I think a lot of what happened to you guys, okay, to all you men and women that that suffered this was one of the big reasons that Trump got reelected.
That's right.
Okay, because he made some promises and he kept the promises and stuff like that. I do think that there's some other stuff that needs to come with it. A lot of you guys are unfortunately are suffering trying to get jobs, trying to get homes, trying to rent places and stuff like that. Okay, um, just because of the record when they do a background check, I think all your records should be expunged on top of the pardon to help you guys along the way. I personally think you guys deserve reparations because many of you lost businesses. A lot of you had your own businesses and stuff like that. You lost your homes, you lost your businesses, you lost the jobs that you were with, you lost friends, family, everything. So I think that there should definitely be some financial comeuppance by the government. With that said, um, so you're in jail. Now, how long did you stay? You said 2 years. They had
No,
you in.
I did 46 and a half months. I did 1,418 days, almost
Wow.
40
So
years.
you were. Wow. Holy shit. So
Yeah.
like the whole length of the time, essentially the whole time you were in the and all of it was all in the gulag.
No, I did.
Most
So
of it.
I, I did 32 months total in the DC jail and about 14 in the
Okay.
Federal Bureau of Prisons.
Still, but that's almost 3 years of your sentence in the gulag, man. That's a lot of time.
Really?
Okay, and that jail in particular has a long history of corruption and abuse and whatnot, and it just needs to be shut down.
Yeah,
Period.
absolutely.
They just need to get rid of it, and blow it up, turn it into a freaking parking lot, whatever they want to do with it. Build a mall. I don't know, but it has a long history of what happened to you guys. It's been going on for a long time at that prison. So now here you are with the pardon. How was that for you? Were you still in on the 20, was it the 20th? Yeah, with the
Yeah.
pardon.
Yeah. So I got I listened. I was in the shoe in solitary, and I'm listening to the inauguration on the radio, and heard the speech, and then I heard Trump. I guess went down he was in the rotunda when he did the inauguration speech, but he went to a remote viewing place in the Capitol where like 2,500 other people were watching him, and I heard him
Hmm.
say, "There's going to be some very happy J6 people very soon," and I was like, "Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, it's going to happen, dude!" And
yeah,
so that was probably like 2 p.m. Well, I kind of just was listening to the radio, just actively trying to hear what was going on. Well, an officer came to my door at 6:30 p.m. and was like, "Jenkins," and he was like, "Where were you on January the 6th?" And I said, "Man, I was at the Capitol," because all the officers knew I was
yeah,
at the Capitol, and they were kind of like a little bit of a celebrity there. But and he was like, "Well," he goes, "Man," he goes, "Get your stuff, dude." He goes, "You're leaving," and I was like, it was 6:30, and I was like, "Man," it hurt me when he said, I was like, "Please don't play with." I thought he was joking around. I was like, "Man,
right,
please don't play with me like that right now. Like I'm like stressing this, watching, listening to this." And he was like, "Jenkins, get whatever you're bringing and get over here to this door and put these handcuffs on. I'm taking you out of here." And I was like, and I just stood there for a second, and my cellie jumped down off his bunk, and he was like, "Man, get your stuff and get out of here, like before they change their mind." And I was like,
yeah. No shit.
"All right." So I went and got all my stuff, and
But
I
I
was
can understand the feeling though, right? Like you guys have been political prisoners for this whole time. Okay. Again, many of you guys never even saw the light of day of even getting to a judge for a case, right? Didn't even have charges brought up against you. All misdemeanors and stuff like that as well. On top of that, right? So they were violating your rights left and right. So I can understand why you would feel that way. Like don't fuck with my emotions, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I really want to get out of here, and so I'm just glad that I'm glad you were able to get out. I know we still had some people that were still have some people that are there,
yeah.
and I saw. Oh, there's my partner. Hang on one second. Let me bring him in here.
All right.
Uh, there's my partner, man. Shane. This is my
Hey,
co-host, Reddaywalker, Scott Perez.
All right. Good to
hey,
meet you, man.
Uh,
sorry I'm late, man.
Yeah, no
nah,
worries.
bro, that's okay, man. Uh, so all right, so now you get out on the 20th. All right, and we actually we my co-host and I, we did Scott and I, we did a, what do you call it, an inauguration show on the 20th, right? Covering just, we were up for how many hours were we, man? It was like almost 6 hours, right? 5 hours. We're
God,
up for about five
you
hours. We
you
we
went the
got taken
distance.
down. Yeah, we got taken down on YouTube. Okay.
What?
At
Mm.
every major channel, okay, every major channel on YouTube that was covering the inauguration, we all got pulled. Okay. So like I'm
Oh,
fortunate that I have a Rumble account and I was like, shit, I gotta get this up. And we got the Rumble account up and we were able to keep it going. And that was one of the things Scott and I were constantly talking about was like, the things that we want to see him do. But the biggest thing was January, you guys, man. And Scott, I was
Oh yeah.
telling him that we both felt that one of the reasons that Trump got elected and one of the reasons why we're constantly talking about the communism and all this shit was because of the
Mhm.
J6ers.
Oh, it was. Yeah, I mean, you guys were for many people that weren't even didn't even have any like skin in the game. They like weren't even they didn't even care. They just it set them off. They were
yeah.
like they it finally. I mean, I hate to say that your plight was necessary, but in some ways it was because it really did. I think it really did turn the tide. And for people, even for people like me, like I was already there. I've been on the Trump train since like 2017. I stepped it up. Like I was all in for 2020. I really never thought he'd lose, and we still don't believe he really did. But
Yeah, no.
um, you know, for people like me, I didn't even know Eric back then. We like we were just like all in for the last 4 years, and we were just like, man, we were just trying to figure because there were so many people like saying like, well, donate to this fund and donate to this fund, and you know we're gonna do this for the J6ers. It's like, but what are we? What's really like to me? It was just like what the only thing that's going to get them justice is getting the Biden and Cacklehead out of there
Mhm.
and getting Trump back in. I mean, and I didn't think any other Republican would just set him free.
No.
They might talk about it, they might promise it, but to me, Trump was the only one, and I think most people felt that too. He was the only one that really, when he said it, he meant it. That he's gonna free them all on day one, and I didn't really give a shit. Like I heard people say, oh well, not the violent offenders, and not this and not. I was like, you
Nope.
know what? That's gonna take months to sort out
Yeah.
with all the lawyers and all the things. Just you know what? I've told many people since the 20th. I said, no, this is the only way to just do it one slate, get it done in one day, and you know what? Fine. I really could give a fuck that after everything they've let go since like the summer of love and all of
Yep.
this bullshit over the last 4 years, they've let so many people off the hook from crimes against conservatives, against patriots, against white people, just whatever. What you pick the thing.
Mhm.
If you're a trans, you can pretty much get away with whatever you want. You know, um, and it's just like no, 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 no. This was a way. This wasn't like, oh my god, some crazy thing that Trump did. This was just simply just tipping the scales back to even again, to
Mhm.
like say, okay, let's start from zero again. And because in the end, people like you didn't even this doesn't like fix what you went through.
Mhm.
This merely just gives you an opportunity to kind of to start to get back to where you were. But you can't get those years back. You can't get those time back that you missed from your family and your friends and your loved ones. Some people, most people lost their careers. A lot of people lost their homes. They can't get a job now. This is not just like, oh, they just forgot. Forgive and forget. No, this damage was done. if
Yeah.
if
Yep.
anything, there should be a class action lawsuit at some point over the next couple of years coming. And it's like, I don't care if it's against the federal government. I don't care if it's against certain individuals who wronged you guys. Nah, that's going to be the true justice right there when we get to that point. But just letting you out wasn't just, oh, some crazy thing. But no, I mean, we're happy to see people like you out and many other people that we've seen. I don't even know all the stories. I just am happy that we just knew that it was an injustice. We
Mhm.
knew that you had no business being in there, especially when you see all the bullshit from the Capitol Police, from the Capitol politicians lying through their teeth on the when people were there and they saw it. I got so many videos taken down of footage. I was trying to
Yep.
share footage saying, no, look at this. Look
Mhm.
at what account banned, post taken down, post take. It's like hiding the fucking truth, just like the mainstream media, just hiding the truth.
That's
I
right.
was
Yeah.
over it. Sorry
This
for the
for
rant.
this for you, Shane. This from Rogue Nina. She says, "Not one day went by that we didn't think of all J6 political prisoners and would fight however
Mm-hmm.
possible for them." And she's right. Like Scott was saying, for me, I said the same thing. I just want a complete, total, full pardon. I don't want to hear any shit about anything. I just want full pardons for everybody because after what we saw in 2020, in the summer of love, the billions of dollars that Antifa and BLM did, okay, destruction,
Mm-hmm.
right, all across the nation. I think it's anywhere between 33 and like 40 something people that actually got killed. Okay, taking over neighborhoods and making them no-go zones and whatnot. All right, in America we had fucking no-go zones. I
Yeah.
didn't want to hear it. I was like, nah. I was like, I don't give a rat's ass. I want every single one. I don't care if they broke a window. I don't care if they threw something across the street. Doesn't matter to me. Just pardon everybody. So it was good to see that. We're very very happy for you guys. And again, we're gonna keep fighting for you guys to get some justice. And this is from my mod. Going back to what Scott was saying, says the left is always resort to censorship because they know their lies can't stand up to scrutiny. It's true. Like Scott was saying, he kept getting banned. All right, putting shit up, and
I lost
it was
accounts
just this.
over it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was this orgy of the government, big tech, and fucking the Marxist state media that just wouldn't let the truth get out about you guys. But those of us who are truth tellers and truth seekers like Scott and I, we just kept fighting, man, because we're just glad that you guys are out, and the
Mm-hmm.
fight is just beginning. And like he said, I hope there's like a massive class action suit. I don't give a shit who you guys sue, the government, fucking the former
You know what?
president, vice president,
After
doesn't
what
make me. I don't give a rat's
after
ass.
after what Doge has found in the last month, you know
Yeah.
what? I think they've got some money to pay back the J6ers. I'm sorry, they got some spare cash.
Absolutely. Yeah, that ain't no fucking lie. Shane, because I know you got to go in like, almost 20 minutes here. CPAC, bro. What was going on at CPAC? What did you see?
I mean, for me personally, like I showed up and I was thinking, well, I had violent charges on January 6th or whatever. I didn't know what to expect. And I see some people I saw like Enrique and Stuart Rhodes and some of the bigger name people, getting banned. And I was like trying to find the commonality between all of them. I know Jake Lane got kicked out multiple days, even after they let him back in, they kicked him back out.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a single problem going in, and I was treated. You know, once people figured out who we were, it was like it was celebrity status. Honestly, like it was good. There was a lot of love. Like a lot of people were like, "Man, can we take a picture with you? Can we give you a hug?" They were like, we were praying for you. We were donating to this. We were writing people. We wrote letters to you, but they got returned, and this, that, and the other. And man, it was something that was beautiful, And I know I don't look like your typical conservative, Republican individual, and I do have a checkered past. I've been to prison multiple times in the state of Texas until I gave my life to Christ in 2016. But I was treated with love and respect, and it was awesome at CPAC. But then we left, and the Proud Boys and all, like about 60 of us went to the Capitol. Where there's lots of photo ops and stuff like that. We got to take pictures. Enrique did go to jail, but fortunately, that was just a ticket. It wasn't a big issue. It got kind of blown up, but it wasn't really a big deal. He's
Yeah.
he's out same day.
Yeah, yeah. See, but the thing is this, right? Like, there's because I saw the videos because JD Rivera was like filming, and that one lady with the fucking mega horn, and she's
Oh
just
gosh.
screaming bullshit. She's got the things in your guys' ears, okay? She's being aggressive and whatnot and everything. I'm pretty sure she probably got hands on with a couple of people, okay? And so the guy's trying to protect himself, and then
Yeah,
he gets the fucking citation, and the cops are there the whole time following, right? Like I'm watching them. I was like, yo, you guys are letting this fucking chick walk in between them,
yeah,
do whatever she wants, get all aggressive and and stuff like that. And these guys are just trying to walk to the Capitol, okay, and take pictures and whatnot. Like I said, JD was I was following JD's videos and stuff
yeah,
that he was posting, and to me it's just still bullshit, okay? And like and to me it's they know who he is, okay? They're not happy that he fucking got out of jail. The man wasn't even there at J6. That's the thing that makes it even worse, right? Like, so they
wasn't
put him
even-
up on some charges. He wasn't even in the fucking Capitol on January 6th, okay? And they brought him up on some bullshit charges. The guy was gonna get 20 years for a fucking post on Twitter or whatever it is. You know, and that to me was just some bullshit. They knew who he was, and they just, they weren't happy of the fact that you guys were pardoned. They feel slighted and stuff like that. But again, like what we were talking about earlier, right? When they started throwing chucking flashbangs at people and hitting people in the face,
Yeah.
that kind of set shit off with everybody. And it's gonna you watch somebody get hit with a flashbang, you're gonna do one of two things. You're gonna get either pissed off or you're gonna run, right? And everybody got pissed off.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the agitators that were there that were deliberately, starting shit. And when you were saying you were still at Trump's speech when
Mhm.
all of this shit was happening, like 2 hours afterwards is when you showed up
Mhm.
and stuff like that. And the agitators had already fucking started stuff and were breaking everything and whatnot. Let me just say hello to some of the people in the chat. Rosie Riverdale, so what's up? What's going on? Obviously, Jonathan Stevie, our moderator. Scott Tampa, what's going on, brother? um, Rogue Nina in the house. Victoria Robinson, thanks for showing up. We appreciate you. If you're on Rumble, we do see your comments. If you drop comments, if you're just joining us for the first time, we're here with Shane Jenkins, J6 political prisoner, telling his story and whatnot. Gave us a little insight of what was going on at CPAC. If you just join us, you can go back and it's a pretty good tale. And what I appreciate about you, Shane, is that you you stood up and you're like, yeah, man, this is what I did. Right, like you ain't trying to hide shit, but none of you guys are doing that anyway, right? So I haven't heard anybody do that, but you're like, yeah, I did that, and then you also said that when I heard the crowd be like, stop, you stopped.
Yeah.
Whereas again, the footage we see of the two Fed agents that one's opening the door, the other one's actually breaking the fucking window out and everything, and it's just like and then acts like he's telling the dude that told him to stop, was like, he acts like like he's the one telling the
Yeah.
guy to stop.
Well, he
The
was
whole bullshit in the game,
Yeah.
and we know about the Ukrainian fucking their Nazi special forces dudes that were there and everything like that on the ground and stuff. That's all shit that came to light.
Well, you can't say
And
that they're Nazis.
yeah, well,
We know what they are.
okay,
I'm,
the Yahtzees. All right,
you know
the
what you're talking
Ukrainian.
about, though. I like that. A lot of people don't know about their supremacist leanings and all of that. That's
Bro,
good.
that goes back to the time of Hitler, man,
Oh, it's.
and like
I don't even
you got
think
to know
it's
some world
lean.
history.
Can you
It
call
is.
it leanings? I mean, they pretty much just have their
They're
own regiment at this point.
bent.
It's
Yeah,
true.
I
It,
mean,
it
they
is so
fly
true.
the old. They actually fly the flags.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
for
they
sure.
they they got
It's just
they
out in the
got they
open.
literally they literally have the two lightning fucking bolts
Yeah,
in their flag and
Hmm.
whatnot and everything. Yeah. So
fun and
we'll
all that
so
stuff.
for YouTube purposes, we'll say Yahtzees.
All right, for sure.
Fucking Yahtzees, man.
Hmm.
But again, like we know that they were on the ground. We know again that the federal agents were there. We know that there were criminal informants that were there, and it was one big entrapment. And people don't want to hear it, but the Marxists don't ever want to hear the truth, right? It's funny because we post videos, right? We'll take clips and post it, Scott and I, and then the Nazis, the Yahtzees and the Marxists, okay, fucking the Marxists come out in full force, man, and they're just, oh, you guys are this, you guys are traitors, and all this other bullshit, and but they can't back their shit up ever.
All of a sudden, they care about the country. You're a traitor to this country. Like you don't care about this country. Like golly. I did
It's
want to tell you. I did want to tell you. You look young for 51, man. And I might have a slight problem with you because you're wearing a New York Giants hat. I mean, I'm a Dallas Cowboys
that
fan. I'm in Texas.
that's all right, man. It's all right. It's all
We did
love, though.
better
It's
than
still
y'all.
love,
We
man.
had a horrible year. Y'all, we did
Bro,
better than y'all in our division.
man, I've been suffering with them since their last Super Bowl.
Eli,
So yeah, I've been suffering with them my whole life, but at least I've gotten to see 4 Super Bowls. So I'm happy. Most teams
okay,
haven't even got one, or a few teams that don't have one, and most teams don't even have two.
for
So
sure.
I've been okay with it, and I'm a diehard New York fan, man. I'm live or die with my freaking teams, and most of the time they suck. So so yeah, you guys were kind of terrible there for a little bit now. The freaking Eagles,
It's
man.
been a
Philly is
while.
Yeah, it's been a while, man.
No, come on, let's be
Freaking
real.
Eagles, man.
Dallas hasn't been great since the '90s.
Yeah, since the '90s.
Yeah, that's about right, man. It just like
Mm,
Tony Romo would choke every time, and he was a great quarterback too.
I love Tony
Great
yeah.
Romo.
teams,
Man, like
and he would just choke. He'd get to the playoffs and just crash out.
Hmm.
yeah,
He's a
that's
much better
uh,
announcer.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually he's a phenomenal analyst, man. He's actually
Yeah,
phenomenal. He
he's
reminds
really
me a
good.
lot of John Madden. He does
Yeah.
a lot of John Madden type
Hmm.
stuff, Joe. So it's like pretty cool. Rogue Nina says, just as damn it, Eric, stop looking so young.
That's good, man.
uh, yeah, man,
I
I'm
was older
aging
than you.
gracefully, man.
Yeah, it's good.
Huh?
I was saying I thought I was older than you. I'm 47. I was like, golly, man.
I'm around the same age. It's still Gen X, man.
We're
Yeah.
babies.
Yeah, Scott doesn't look his age either, man.
We're gonna start calling anybody in their 40s a millennial.
Yeah.
40s for the new millennials. Yeah, that's right.
So Shane, what do you got going, man? We got you for a couple of minutes. What's up for you now?
Yeah, I can hang tight. I'll stick around till I got to go. But yeah,
Okay.
so now through these experiences, and like we kind of talked about the gulag a little bit, man. But I watched these guys like go through it, man. And a lot of these guys were veterans like yourself.
Well,
Um,
tell us, man.
yeah, these guys lost had loved ones dying off. They went through divorces. They lost homes. They lost businesses. They had the weight of the government crushing them. We were denied all those basic human needs, whether it was religious services, haircuts, visits, and stuff with their families. And so, through all of that, like I grew to love my brothers, man. I like I say, I've been to prison before in Texas, and so gave my life to Christ in 2016, and I have my faith till, and I'm like I believe like I like understand where it says in the Bible, like though you slay me, yet I still trust you, God. And it's like Job, when like Job was going through all
Yeah.
that, God took everything from him, and he's like
Yeah.
never lost faith in God. Like God took all of it from him, and he
Yeah.
was like, I still like even if you take my life, God, I still trust you. And so that's the kind of faith that I try to emulate. And so I got to be there with those men, and suffer alongside them, hook arms with them, and suffer with them through those losses and all of that. And then you had people's family turn against them, abandon them. You had people from their
Yeah.
family testify against them on the stand at trial and stuff like that.
Yeah, man.
Um, I got to be there, and that's where that vision for standing the gap was birthed. Whenever we finally did get visitation back, was we were like, we need to try to do something to raise some money to change some of this. So what we did was we started a program through Standing the Gap called Operation Love Wins, and we started raising money to pay for people, because if you imagine the mom's out there by herself, dad's in jail in DC, and nobody was from DC, right? Everybody's like Florida, Texas,
Yeah.
California, whatever. And so mom's been out there 2 years struggling, taking care of the babies, working two jobs, whatever she's doing. She doesn't have time to take off, to buy the plane tickets for her and the kids, to fly to DC, to spend the day, then turn around and like have a hotel room or whatever, and then turn around and fly
Right.
back. That's expensive. That's expensive, first of all. Plus, it takes a lot of time. Plus, the kids have school, all these different things. So, we said Operation Love Wins. Let's do this to where we can raise money so these families won't have to pay a dime to come to DC to visit their loved ones. So, we reunited about 75 families that way through the visitation program. And then from there, we just kind of started moving forward. And now that we're out, what we're trying to do is we've got like three things we're attacking with Standing the Gap. And these are stuff that if people want to go check it out, go to standinthegap.foundation. But
All your links, absolutely every single one of your links is in the description. So
okay, appreciate
if
you.
you want the Stand in the Gap, the everything, the Real J6 website, all your links are there, brother.
Yeah, thank you. But so what we're doing, kind of, there's one is everybody's credits shot all to hell because nobody got to pay
Yeah.
off their credit cards or do any of that when they came to jail. So we want to work with the credit repair team to get that under control for the guys. Healthcare, we want to pay for healthcare for the men because they haven't had medical treatment. If they did in prison, it was horrible, and or dental treatment, that was awful as well. Then there's another program we're starting called much like Operation Love Wins, but it's called Mission Memory Maker, and it's
Yeah.
basically where we want to fund a 3 to 5 day vacation for mom and dad, the kids, whatever they've got, whatever situation they have. But we want to be able to reestablish these bonds of these families and these kids at no expense to the family, so they can
That's
go
good stuff, man.
just unplug, get together, and just be alone and spend some time just not have to worry about the financial strain of doing it or anything like that. And so
Right.
those are the three things we're doing right now actively for January 6th, guys. And then in the future and now we're working on justice reform. And so when I was in the BOP, man, it was a war zone. And I mean, it was, I thought, like, I've been to some of the worst state prisons in the state of Texas, Cofield, Michaels,
Right.
Robertson. Like, I've been to some of the bad ones. And so, but I've never seen anything like the things I saw in these federal joints. I saw two people die. One died from a fentanyl overdose. Another one got beat. This guy got beat to death by his cellie. I watched
Yes.
people get jumped, stabbed, thrown boiling magic shave thrown on people. People, it was just. I was like, man, and the cops, the guards don't even care. They're like, they know, like they might know you're fixing to go get beat down on the way to chow, and they just like stand by. They'll all come outside and because they know something's fixing to happen, they'll just let it happen. I'm like, what are y'all doing? I had the guards tell me, because I was at mediums, but there's usually a pen next door to the mediums, and they tell me, yeah, I work over at the pen most of the time, and but when the guys get off the bus over there, I tell them, man, you better get a knife, man, you better get two, you better get more than two, more than like one, you better get a few of them. And I'm like, you're the law, the embodiment of the
Yeah.
law, and you're telling these guys you need to get a knife. And so my thinking is like, first of all, for somebody living in that situation, being terrorized or living in that high stress situation, gang violence and all that, and then you got monster amounts of drugs, and I've never seen like there's probably more drugs than there are out here in the streets. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah, and because the way they get into prison is it's something else.
it's crazy. But if you imagine all of those men that I saw in there, those guys are getting out one day. And where are they moving? They're moving next door to you, Scott. They're moving next door to you. They're moving next door to me. Their kids are going to school with my kids. Their kids are going to school with your kids, And so these, that being in that war zone like that, the drug infested, violent gang, like just living in a war zone like that. And then you put these people out into society. What expectation do you have for them? How do you expect them to get out there? And I'm not saying that everybody gets out of there is going to fail, but what I'm
Right.
saying is that environment is not conducive to positive change, and it's failing us as a society. And probably the ones that are going to bear the brunt of it are us because we are failing them in there. And so that's something that I'm passionate about. And I know we got to talk to Steve Bannon at CPAC, and he said that him, Peter Navarro, and Jared Kushner, and we've already heard that President Trump is up to um, fundamentally restructuring and changing the policies and the way things are done on the at the BOP, at the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And so that's something that we're fighting for, and we are going to continue to fight for. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to be bringing guys along with us and helping them get their stories out and tell their stories of the things they experience in there, because it is absolutely like that's my stories that I told you. I could probably tell you 20 guys that have very same or similar stories, and
Mhm.
it's sad because all of those people that are affected by the same stories we've heard, like, have a story too, and that's going to impact their psyche and their emotion, and
Right.
it's like a trauma that they've endured for years in there, and they're going to get out in society and hurt somebody, maybe fall flat on their face or whatever, and it's just not. It's I don't know where we are at on the recidivism scale as far as worldwide, but I would say we're not probably. I, it has to be in the middle somewhere. I just
Yeah,
don't.
we don't do our numbers aren't very well as far as recidivism in the nation as a whole. But I think what you're doing to try to help your brothers and sisters that went through this, again, because everything was taken from you guys, absolutely everything,
Yeah,
including your humility, right? Like these guys at the BOP went out of their way, okay, to humiliate you guys. It was a concerted effort, the force of the government to absolutely destroy you, okay. And it wasn't just meant to destroy you, it was meant to destroy the psyche of everybody else outside watching it
absolutely.
happen.
Oh yeah,
Okay, that
that
was
was the
the
biggest
ultimate
thing.
goal. Yeah, that was the ultimate goal, was to you see what we're doing to them, this can also happen to you. All right, that's what the mentality of the government was, okay, with you guys, is we're gonna make these guys pay. We're gonna show everybody that they're paying a little bit.
Mhm.
We're not gonna show them exactly how they're paying, because that's gonna be behind closed doors. All
Mhm.
right, but you're gonna know that the force of the government will come for you if you don't do as we say. If you don't, When we want to come get you, we could come get you. And that was what the ultimate scare tactic was for the nation. Okay, it was to use you guys as guinea pigs of what they can do, okay, with ultimate force and come after everybody else or anybody they deem, a freaking undesirable and go after. So they used you guys for that. And it's sad that you guys had to go through that. And again, we're gonna keep bringing you guys on, okay, to keep telling the stories because this is something that can never ever happen again to American citizens. And you know these stories have to continue to be told. And I definitely want to get some more people who were there for Roseanne, because nobody's talking about Roseanne. Okay, nobody's talking about, not that you guys do all the time, but nobody's talking about Roseanne, okay, and what happened that day and what led to her death. You have to watch a movie or something like that, because you got to watch, the War on Truth. You got to watch, the real story of January 6th on the Epic Times and
Yeah.
everything like that. So we're trying to get some more you guys to come on who were there to tell her story, because by all accounts, the government went out of their way to frame this woman as like she was some sort of meth head or something like that.
No.
And from what I
Mm-hmm.
understand, she had been clean for quite some time. Like she was really, really, she had walked away from it, and she was about a positive life, and she was just standing there just to be, a patriot with the rest of you guys. But the government went out of their way. They lied about, the medical examiner's report and whatnot, and they just completely ruined her reputation as a human. And again, it was all for scare tactics to tell the American people that what we're doing to them, we can absolutely do to you.
We can get you. I can get you in contact with Ronald Maccabee. He's the guy that was doing the chest compressions on her and CPR with her.
Yeah. I'd
Uh,
love to have him and his wife, because I know his wife's been on.
yeah, for sure. And that's the thing too, is like I think it's Donald Trump. It is Donald Trump that says, they're coming. It's like they're coming for you, but I'm standing in the way. And I feel like
Yeah.
we kind of got between him and the and the machine, right? And we got crushed
Yeah.
along with him. And so the way I've always said is it was an honor for me to suffer alongside all of those men in there and to serve them in that furnace, that boiler, whatever, in there, to be in there with those guys. And I didn't serve in the military, and I regret not joining the Marines when I was set up to go. But I felt like this is an opportunity for me to stand strong and to serve in the capacity that I can serve now. And so I'm thankful that I got to go through it. And like you said, I feel like we played a significant role in getting President Trump reelected. And people ask me
Huge
like,
role.
man, would you do it if you knew exactly what was going to happen and how it was going to turn out? Would you do it all again? And I have maintained, and I will continue to say that I would absolutely do it all again and go through all of this all over again, just because it was the right thing to do. And I I took for granted this country and the beauty of it and the opportunity that it affords. I was going through a lot as a young man, and um, I, I was selfish selling drugs and doing all this other stuff. Um, but I'm thankful that we live in the greatest country in the world, man. And I appreciate that now. And I want to preserve that for my children and my grandchildren and my future generations. And I want to leave them a legacy that they can be proud of. And so I'm willing to do whatever it is. If that means lay down my life, in service or whatever it is, however I can do it, I'm going to do it with my time, my money, my efforts, whatever it is. I'm willing to do that, man, so we can have the best country and the best kids and future generations in the world.
I haven't heard one of you guys at all say, anybody I brought on said that you guys would do anything different, and that to me is just a testament of your will, testament of all your character. Okay, because it's funny because I went off to Iraq after 9/11, and right or wrong, whether we were there for the right reasons or not, I tell people all the time, um, we know what we know now, but at the time we knew what we knew then. And the country called and I went. Period. Nobody had to twist my arm. Okay. I went because I was thinking at the time. I was thinking of my son at the time, who ended up going into the military and doing a tour in the Middle East later on, because we were there for so long. But it's I look at you guys the same way, and I haven't heard not one of you say I would do things differently. And to me, I appreciate that, because you guys are all patriots, man. You guys we saw in real time during the 2020 election, our country start falling into banana republicism. Okay, it was literally turning it. It was that was some banana republic shit where he was up by millions of votes at midnight, and we wake up the next morning, he's down by 500,000 votes here, another 500,000 votes there, and everything. And we knew, and then we saw video footage. Right, the video footage came out of people dump stuff in ballots and shit, and then all of a sudden, those videos disappeared. Okay, so you guys on January 6th were essentially you were there to protest, okay, a stolen election, as is your right to do in our republic, right? Because we don't live in a democracy. Because if we live in a democracy, okay, it would be complete and total mob rule, right? Then if we actually lived in a democracy, New York and California would absolutely control this nation with the populations that they have.
Yeah.
It would be completely and total. We'd be decimated by Los Angeles and New York City.
Right.
So it would be complete total mob rule. So I appreciate you guys, and we're going to continue to bring you guys on to tell your stories. And if you have anybody who hasn't told their story yet that wants to, please send them on, send them our way. And if they feel a little apprehensive and they need you to come on, come back with them, brother. We'll you know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying.
You got my contact information too, and if you have somebody you want to try to reach out to, I mean, I'm friends with the Proud Boys and all those guys, and I got
Yeah.
some other guys that I think you would really enjoy talking to that are close friends of mine. And I would absolutely love to help y'all. However, we can get those guys and get their stories on, get them out.
Send them my way, man. Tell them
I still
to
don't have to
tell them
go
to.
yet. If you got
Oh,
people that
sure.
want to ask questions or whatever, man, if you want them to,
Yeah,
yeah,
does anybody in the chat have any questions for Shane? And if you're just joining us, we have Shane Jenkins, J6 political prisoner, has told his story, and we were just giving him some accolades of being the patriot that he is. And if you have any questions for him, by all means, please, bring it up. One thing that Rogue Nina says, she says, because we were talking about Roseanne, she says exactly. Roseanne gets swept under the rug. I bring her name up every time I can. I'm
mm,
so sad Shane had to see that and have that memory. And she says, God bless Roseanne.
yeah.
Amen. Yeah, it's
It's
true.
crazy. Did you see that? I don't know if you know that the officer that was beating her with the stick while she was unconscious on the ground. Have you seen that video footage?
Yeah, what's her name? Lila Morris
Lila
or
Moore,
something like
yeah,
that.
she got the
Yeah.
Congressional Medal of Honor and got set on the 50-yard line at the Super Bowl the very next month.
Yeah, she got the not the what do you call it, the civilian version of that or some shit
Yeah,
like that. Yeah, they gave her. Yeah,
they-
I didn't watch the Super Bowl or anything like that because one, I had no interest in it, and I haven't really watched football in a while. I have no reason to watch football because my team
Nope.
sucks. But plus they kind of lost me with their BLM shit and taking knees and everything like that, and that was like kind of like the end of it for me. So yeah, I just what makes me upset is that like she even said like we were talking about Luke Coffey, right? Like she even said in court that he didn't hit her, right? But they still charged him for assaulting a police officer, right? And if you're looking at all the video, the man is he's doing everything he can to protect people, not
mm.
swinging at anybody.
And he's the guy with the
That
crutch, right? Holding the crutch up or whatever.
yeah, he's the one. He's the one with the crutch. Okay, actually, and before that crutch, he turns to the crowd,
Mm.
and there's a picture of him, and it looks like he's telling them to pray. He's got his hands out, and he's
All
telling
that
them,
he's telling,
calm
oh,
down. He's like pray. He's like, let's pray because of what was going on with Roseanne.
yeah,
All right. And you had a woman dying there, right? She was unconscious. She hadn't died yet. Okay. And like he was telling them to calm down, let's pray and stuff. And the reason he picked up the crutch was because they were just stomping a shithole in her.
yeah,
They were just hitting and hitting. He was trying to stop them from hitting her, and then, and people were trying to work her to bring her back to life. And, there were cops were getting in the way of that, you know?
so
Yeah. Absolutely, Patriot Daywalker. um, yeah, I essentially haven't really watched sports in general. I think there's hockey's probably the only one that's still pretty freaking hasn't been too woke
yeah.
about shit.
No, they
Baseball
were.
hasn't been
They were. Hockey? Are
not
you
as
kidding
bad
me?
though. It was
Oh, they did
there
have
was
the
certain
rainbow
teams.
flags and all that. I remember that.
Yeah, there were certain teams
No,
that did the rainbow
didn't they
flag thing.
actually hire?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but didn't they have Didn't they literally hire like a director of diversity or director of some bullshit?
It wouldn't surprise me if they did though, Scott.
They
Seriously, because
did.
everybody was doing that.
They did.
Everybody was getting.
I
That wouldn't
know, but
surprise
even
me.
the NHL did. They literally did that because like the
Yeah.
teams need to be
Yeah,
more
you're right. I
diverse.
know
Like
there were
what?
some teams.
I still haven't seen a trans player. The fuck?
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, right? Because the only thing those Transformers want to do is fucking go into women's sports so they can beat up on sports because they're mediocre and they suck at males. You know, they can't run, right? So like they can't run on a track against men, or they can't swim against other men. They're like 190th, all right? So then they throw on a wig and freaking pump themselves up with some hormones years
And I
after they've already
still,
been through puberty, okay, and then get on the track and get in a pool, okay, just so they, or get in the ring and beat the shit out of freaking women and stuff like
and,
that. It's just
and
insane.
we
It's insane.
have yet to see one trans man go and compete with the
Okay,
men.
that is true, but you know where I saw a
I've
trans
yet to
man
see
try
that.
it? You know where I saw a
Well,
trans
I don't
man
have a problem
try
with
it?
them trying it, but yeah,
No, no, no.
where?
But you know where I saw it try? Because I only seen it once. I only seen one of these
What's that?
Transformers do it once. A woman who thought she was a man, okay, and went through the whole haircut and pumped and was all jacked and stuff like that from all the freaking testosterone and everything that they were pumping, the roids that they were pumping in themselves, right? There was a show on NBC called something of the Titans. It was something, a show The Rock was doing. Okay, and had
Oh
athletes come,
God,
and they were doing, what do you call it? They were doing all
you
kinds
already
of like
lost me.
yeah, but check it out. But no, this it was funny because they were doing all kinds of like obstacles and stuff like that. But it was like weight stuff. Like there was a lot of strength in it and everything. Man, just this chick came out here thinking she was a dude, and she went up. She was in the first round and got absolutely crushed by the dude. And like the dude who beat her, like you could tell when they were like doing the interviews before they actually went into the actual event together, and they were glorifying her. The dude was just looking at her like, I'm gonna absolutely annihilate you.
I'm gonna
You
flat.
came on this, yeah, I'm just gonna absolutely destroy you. I'm gonna fucking crush you. The look on his face was like, this is embarrassing that I even have to do this. Okay, but I'm gonna crush you. I'm gonna make sure that you never go up against another dude ever again. And he beat her by like fucking like 12 seconds or some shit like that. It was just insane. She couldn't keep up on any of the strength stuff and everything, and she was all jacked from roids and stuff. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't ever see. But again, we don't ever see women trying. They still compete against other women,
Mhm.
believe it or not. You
Yeah,
know?
they want to fight against men. They can't do that.
Yeah, they don't want to do it against
You
dudes.
can't. You know
Did
what to end.
absolutely.
You know how to end that argument once and for all. You just ask them point blank: Are you trans or are you a woman?
Yeah,
Because if you're trans, that means you're not a woman. If you're a woman, that means you're not trans. Pick one.
Yeah.
but yeah, I
Now
think it was.
can't be both.
They're always just saying like, see,
No, I'm trans.
men,
No, no, you're not. You're either one or the other.
men can be better women than women can. And we've like we become a trans
I
woman and
could
we do
never be a
all
woman.
this.
This shit is just like, it's so
Not even a
funny, man.
chance.
I laugh at that shit because it's like, hang on. Rogue Nina actually had a question for you.
All right.
She says, who was the gentleman who was being assaulted by the Bull Dyke Commie Capitol Police daily? Was seriously injured way back in the beginning. What happened to him?
So there, I know that Ryan Samsel got beat up pretty bad. I know Brian Mock got attacked by I think it was Lieutenant Moore, and she was the she was a lesbian, a fairly aggressive lesbian lady. Uh,
Yeah.
that he was one, and then Ronald Maccabee also got attacked by, golly, what was her name? A lieutenant. I cannot remember her name, but he also got attacked by a lieutenant woman. Like they would come in, and it was crazy. They would always come in on like holidays, like Veterans Day or Memorial Day or whatever. And it was like they were
Yeah.
miserable and didn't want to be at work, and they would come in and they would just stir up stuff in the pod, and then they would end up spraying somebody, and then they would
Yeah.
call
Sure.
for help, and then they would jump on it. It was just like, what is going on? But that might be Brian Mock.
Mhm.
I got to see Brian Mock at CPAC too. That was pretty good, man. Um, but yeah,
What's
that
up,
was
Hey,
some of you
can I
guys?
ask you a question about CPAC?
yeah.
What do you know why some of them were kicked out? Was
I
it just
don't
because of who they were, or was it they did something?
now. I don't get. I don't know honestly. I know it was like
Because
Big O,
yeah,
Jake Lang, uh, Enrique, and then Stuart Rhodes. Oh, Dominic Pizzola got kicked out too. There's like 5 people. Um,
right.
but I think they said after the first day that it was a mistake and that they would all be allowed in. So the next day, all of them except for I think Jake Lang got let in. But
Because
I mean, the reason
online, the whole thing was, oh, they're kicking, quote, all the J6ers
Yeah.
out. And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think they were kicking all of them out. And,
very
as usual,
small,
you
yeah.
saw 10 seconds and it's like, what was this? I mean, were some of them acting up or was there a reason? No one had any details. They just said, no, 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 they're just all getting kicked out. And I'm like, come on, guys.
I just
Stop with this.
so
Stop with the stories until we get the whole truth.
there are some people that are quick to be like, "Oh, I'm a victim," like, and I'm not. I'm not with that. Like, I was prepared to get kicked out if they said we're not letting you in, then whatever. Because there's one thing I do know is that MAGA is not the old Republican Party, and Matt and Mercedes
Not
Schlapp,
at all.
they're the old sweater vest, khaki pant wearing,
Yeah.
country club, you know, limousine riding like Ric Flair. uh,
Woo!
woo! But yeah. But that's the kind of Republicans they are, and so I know we don't like we're typical working men or like veterans or whatever for the most part of the January 6th community is, and we don't. I would say they not like us, like so we're a little bit different, but I think we'll get through it because with the MAGA party is ascendant, which is lovely, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, this is from Victoria. She's a descendant of Cuban refugees that escaped communism. So she says, I don't think I've talked about the importance of remembering January 6th enough on my platform and how similar it really is to everyday life Cubans still experience. Absolutely. Yeah, the tyranny in Cuba is still a thing. Um,
Victoria's
you
going
know,
to be on soon with us too.
yeah, yeah. And the 21st, right?
I think
I think
so.
that's what we plugged her in for the 21st.
Hmm.
Yeah, she's gonna come on and tell her story. She's got some family
Yeah,
stories and whatnot too. So,
Okay,
um,
absolutely.
21st, I might need to tune in for that. I would like to hear about Cuba. That's
Yeah.
a
Victoria, I don't remember. Drop your Instagram in your chat so anybody here can see who you are because you've got some good content on Instagram.
yeah, definitely. Put your drop your Instagram in the chat, Victoria. She
I
always
like
has
her.
really
I
good
like her
posts.
rants. I think I shared one of your
Yeah, she
rants
has
this
some good
morning.
rants.
yeah. Ask her what it is. I'll add it on my thing right here.
She has some good rants. But yeah, it just you guys, we can't again, we can't ever let this shit happen to Americans again. And you know, Scott and I, again, we made that pledge and we aim to keep it. As many of you guys want to come on and tell your stories, come and tell it. And like I said, if you have someone who might be a little apprehensive because they've never actually sat on a podcast, Shane, come back on with them, man. Just to make them
Absolutely.
feel comfortable and stuff like that. um they don't have to come on alone. They can come on with you. They can come on with their wife. We got Christopher Alberts is coming on with his wife,
Okay.
and stuff like that. That's actually next Monday, I think. He's on with
Yeah,
us
I think
to tell
so.
absolutely.
his story and whatnot.
Like I say, I'll go ahead and get off here
That
pretty
should be
quick.
good.
If you guys need, if you're if something's going on and you want to say, hey, do you know this guy? Feel free.
Yeah,
I'll shoot you. I don't know if I gave you. Yeah, I'll shoot you my phone number in our chat that we had going or whatever.
I
That,
got I got your I have your phone number. I got
okay.
your
All
information.
right. Good. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, man, I just want to say thank you guys for fighting the fight. Whenever, it was not the cool thing to do, and it was getting your pages shut down, and it was, you were spending capital that I'm sure was hard earned followers and stuff like that. And so, I just want to thank you, man. All the people that prayed out there, all the people that wrote letters out there, all the people that donated out there, all the people that had conversations with their friends out there that lost friends because of those conversations and all that. Everybody had a little fight that they had to fight, and some people had big fights, and other people had to sit in jail, and I just happened to be on that end of it. But I just want to say that we this is a participatory concept, this nation, this republic that we have, and it's not something that we can sit passively by or idly by and expect it to go our way. And I think that fighting the deep state is like something that we have to take an active approach to. And I think that's something that's wrong with the Christian church today, is that it's created this passive generations of men, and where we just don't want to. I could go forever if I never heard the term "violence is never the answer" again. That's so sick of hearing that.
Yeah, they
But
always tend to forget,
I
and
don't
they
know.
forget that Jesus flipped tables. So,
yeah,
um,
how did we
it,
get this
it
country? It wasn't through.
there-
He,
what
He was not
modern day
nice and
Christians
gentle.
Yeah. But what modern day Christians don't, they, for whatever reason, I learned it growing up, okay, was righteous anger. Okay, there is a such thing as righteous anger. Okay, and
Mhm.
we have to be able to use that, all right, to fix things, right? We don't, we tell, it's okay to tell people, don't hate sinners, right?
Mhm.
Okay, which is a good thing. Don't hate sinners. It's not that you hate the sinners, but you have to hate the sin, right? Because if you don't hate the sin, okay, then you're gonna let it continue to go on. It's okay. I tell people all the time, speak your piece, right? Like the whole thing with the Transformers. You will never get me to get on board with that. That doesn't mean I don't have some
Mhm.
empathy, okay, for people who genuinely have gender dysphoria. There are people who genuinely go through that, okay, but we need to give them the psychological treatment that they need. Okay, that's one of the things that needs to get done, right? So, but that doesn't mean that I accept. I might accept them being in pain. I might accept them needing help. Okay, but that doesn't mean I accept the whole transformer thing. I'll never accept that. You'll
Yeah.
never get me to go along with that and tell me that it's normal, right? Same thing with our speech. You know, changing our speech to fucking accommodate 0.00058% of the fucking population. I'm never gonna do that. You'll never get me to do that. Okay. I'm not gonna change the English language because you feel you need to call yourself in the plural form. I'm never gonna do that. You live in pluralities. That's your fault, not mine. I don't live like that.
Mhm.
So again, there's a thing called righteous anger, and Christians need to, remember that, okay, and use it. Again, it doesn't mean that you have to resort to violence, but you need to fight against, what is wrong. And going back to what you were saying about the deep state, um, we've been very complacent as a nation for a very, very long time. We are
Right.
in this boat because as citizens, we haven't paid attention to what was going on. The signs have all been there, but we just been living our all happy-go-lucky lives and not paying attention. And only a handful of us have been fucking screaming from the top of our roofs trying to tell you, all right, that this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong.
Mhm.
Finally, though, okay, and I think this last election was a reflection of that. Going to what you were saying about MAGA, okay, the Republican Party is not the same. Trump has changed, okay, the Republican Party for absolutely ever. It's up to us. He's only one man. It's up to
Let's
us,
hope.
okay, to continue that going. All right, because once he's gone, he's gone.
That's right.
Right, but MAGA doesn't go away. Making America great or keeping America great, okay, is got to be the move now. All right, we can make America great. It's never really not been great. It's just been, we've had a few black eyes, right? Got to put some fucking ice on it, right, and fix it. But you know, it's just we gotta the complacency has to go away, and we have to be involved. And what's more important is not the national shit, it's what goes on in your towns and your villages, okay, paying attention to the judges and the DAs and your city councilmen and your school boards. That's what's most important.
Yeah.
Taking care of your shit locally, that's more important than anything nationally. Not that national shit isn't important, because if you fix what you have to in your state and make it like, a solid state, whoever you send on a national level should they should be representing what exactly how your state is being run. And we see that with a lot of the Freedom Caucus people and stuff like that. That the states they come from and the districts they come from are very, pro America, pro Constitution, and freedom, everything. That's my fucking saying. Uh, yes, I'm with you, Nina. She says 100%. Eric, we will not go along with the mental illness. Period. No, you can't.
That's
You
right.
can't. You
That's right.
can't. You know. So I know you got to get going, brother.
Yeah, man. But God bless y'all,
So,
man. Thank y'all for having me on, man. I appreciate y'all. It was a pleasure, and
man,
I'll reach out with some guys that I got. If it's all right, I'm
yo,
gonna your phone number and have them reach out.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell them to, text me, tell them that that you sent them my way, and then also hit me up in the DMs as well too. In what do you call it, on Instagram? Hey, Shane told me to get a hold of you.
Oh, there it is.
And let's do it. Oh, and there's if you check in the comments on what do you call it, on, you should be able to get her Instagram. She has some really good rants. And bro, you don't have, if you want
Gratefully
to come on
awake.
just to,
Gratefully awake with
y-
Tori.
yep, Gratefully Awake with Tori is Victoria Robinson Carballo. She's very, very, her rants are fantastic. Um, and yeah, bro, man, you could just come on and speak some Patriot shit with us too, bro.
Oh, I got her. Gratefully awake with Tori, the Cuban exile
Yes.
Yep.
granddaughter. Got her.
Yep.
Tell her I
Yeah.
just added her. So
So Shane, Victoria, Shane just followed you on Instagram.
There you go on both of them.
Yep.
That's how
Awesome.
we do it.
That's
And
how
I'm,
we
I'm
do it,
gonna
man.
send you Rob. I'm gonna tell you so maybe you can preview it a little bit. Robert Morse, aka Lego Man. He's
Okay.
the 82nd
Oh yeah,
Airborne
we
Ranger.
we know about him.
Yeah.
That's my right hand man right there. He's a good young man, dude. And then
Legend.
Yeah.
yeah,
He is a legend.
Kelly Meggs was the number 2 guy at the Oath Keepers. He's a friend of mine. He's a very good dude. And I'll try to get a hold of Ronald McAbee for you too, man. So
Yeah, man. Send him my way, brother. And like I said, give him my phone number. Tell him, to just text me and say, "Hey, Shane told me to text you and reach out to try to come on the show." And they can also, like I said, DM me, Big Red One Guy, man, on fucking Instagram, on Twitter, on Truth. It's all the same handle.
all right, man. Well, y'all stay frosty out there, man, and God bless y'all, man.
God bless you too, Shane. Thanks for coming on, brother, and telling your story. Really appreciate you, man. Definitely want you to come back. And like I said, it doesn't have to be on some J6 stuff. You can come back and just come talk some Patriot shit with us.
Let's do it, man. I love it.
Hey, man, brother.
All right.
Have a good night, man. Thanks again for
That's
coming
all.
on.
All right.
Well, America, that was Shane Jenkins with his story. Good dude. Good dude, man. We definitely got to get some of those people on the show and have them continue to tell the story. The story should never go away. Definitely want to have the
I'm
Maccabees on, man, because he was working Roseanne
trying to
Boyland
think about
that day.
what's appropriate to tell these people. I guess at this point, it's like thank you for your service.
Yeah, man. No, they did. They definitely did us they definitely did the
Right?
nation a service, right? Because
I
they
mean,
they were getting freaking absolutely destroyed by the deep state,
yeah.
on
I
behalf
mean,
of
they
the
paid the
fucking rest
ultimate
of America.
sacrifice,
They
and some
did.
of them, just like the regular servicemen, some of them didn't come home.
Yeah. Yeah. Fortunately. What was that? I think we lost 5 on January 6th. And that's not
I'm thinking
including
about like
Matthew Perner,
the ones in. Yeah, yeah, it's
okay, who
crazy.
took his life, right? I think there was a couple that took their lives, unfortunately. Fucking sad, man.
Mhm.
The government was so fucking harsh to them, okay, and ruined them so much that they felt that the only way out was to take their lives, man. That to me, that shit inflames me, bro. It flames me, man. I get so upset with that when I hear that. I'd like to bring his aunt on, if we can, Matthew Perna's aunt, so she can talk to us about him.
Yeah. I had this dumb idea. I was like,
What's that, man?
maybe it's probably too soon. It's probably too soon for it, but maybe at some point when we look back on it, because I always look at J6 as like at some point J6 is going to become sort of like a Memorial
Should
Day.
be.
Um, and
Should be a holiday,
if we
man.
can, it should be. It's like because I honestly believe like if we just hold it together, if the Republican Party really has changed and they don't just fucking crack like they usually do, um,
Yeah,
honestly, we could hold the presidency for the next 20 years.
I agree with you, man. Bro,
I'm not even
you and
kidding.
I on the same page with that, man. We're on the same page with that. I feel you on that. I completely feel you on what it is that what you see. I'm seeing the same thing, man. We have the potential for that.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, if they just stay the course, they could. And think about, I mean, look at what we've done in literally 30 days.
Yeah.
Imagine,
Can
imagine
you
what we
imagine
would
that?
do if it was 20 years, 20 years with the Democrats sniffing the presidency. It would just
Yeah.
be epic, epic.
And
That is
I know
what we
some people
need.
don't. Yeah, I know some people don't think we can do it. I personally think we can add not only to the Senate, but we can actually keep the freaking House. But again, we can't be milk
We can
toasty,
build
right?
on
Like,
it.
yeah, we can build on it. Like we can keep the House and build on that, and we can definitely build in the Senate. The numbers looking now, of course, it's way too early to determine. We won't really know until
Hmm.
2026. Looking at shit then, next year. But I personally think that we can do it. It's just again, we can't be milk toasty, right? Like, you had an excellent post about, it was about Mike Johnson today. I think it was today about Mike Johnson about codifying some of the EOs into law, right? Like getting a fucking law to his
Yeah.
desk. And I don't know if you saw
Supposedly, he
my
said it.
comment. Yeah, I commented with a GIF to follow up on what you said with Yoda. It was like, do or do not. There is no try. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And unless we
well,
get these
that was the
things,
quote.
Yeah, unless we get these things put into law so that the people can actually
Mhm.
feel it, like really feel that okay, we're going in a good direction by putting some of these things into law. All right, we're headed in the right direction. We have to do that. We got the power right now. We can do that if we just fucking stop being milk toasty and just get shit. You know, I know like Ron
I mean,
DeSantis.
we're
I'm a little
getting
pissed.
there.
I'm a little pissed at Ron DeSantis, but like what he said was actually correct. You know,
What's that? What did
I
he
don't
say?
I don't like how he fucking threw Byron Donalds, who's been a huge supporter of him, under the bus because he's trying to promote his wife right now to be the next governor. Um, but but
It's
his
that club
message
for
behind
growth.
it though, yeah. What's that?
It's that club for growth money.
Yeah, and but his message was he had something that was a solid message, saying that the Republicans in Congress haven't done anything yet. He's not wrong, right? Like we've been saying it
No,
like constantly. Like Trump can write all the fucking executive orders in the world, but if we don't push it and codify it into law, it means nothing in the end, right? It'll only be for just 4 years. So like his message was correct, all right. But like he definitely shit on fucking he shat on Byron Donalds today, and I was a little bit upset about that. I was like, bro, what are you doing, man? Byron Donalds actually been there for you, man. Like he stood up for you in 2018. He stood up for you
yeah.
again on your reelection and stuff like that. Like, come on, bro.
I mean,
You know,
Byron
he,
Donalds is more MAGA than DeSantis is.
like by 100. But I think he was promoting his wife in South
He,
Carolina to
it's
run
it's
for
actually
fucking.
deeper. It's actually deeper than that because you know
Oh,
why?
explain.
Because DeSantis wants to be the VP for Vance in
Hmm.
2028. That's the reason, and that's what the prevailing thoughts. I think if you go on like the
Hmm.
the the poly market or whatever, that's what they're thinking that it's going to
Oh,
be.
okay. I think you posted something. I
Honestly,
think you.
that's not what I want. Yeah,
Right.
that's not what I want. I
Yeah.
think if they, and unfortunately, I've talked to people who know people who know people,
Right.
and for some reason, Byron Donalds has his heart set on becoming the governor of Florida. But honestly, if Vance were smart enough to pick Byron Donalds as his VP in
Yeah.
2028, which I believe he is ready for, he could do it. As
Yeah.
VP, dude, who the fuck are the Democrats going to put up against that ticket? As long as they
Yeah.
don't screw up the next
Nobody.
4 years, as long as
Yeah.
Trump doesn't screw the pooch, as long as Vance does some real shit, like he act, which I'm waiting for. I know it's only been 30 days, but at some point I'm going to be like, dude, assign Vance some real work because the
He's
first
actually been
argument,
very. He's actually been active, man. He's been fucking. He's actually been very active.
what's he
They
been
sent
doing?
him. They sent him over to fucking Germany. They sent him over. He's in Europe
No,
and all
no,
that
no.
other stuff.
I want him to, no, no, I want him to actually be in charge of something. Like I'm
Oh, I,
talking
I
about
get that,
because
but
that's the
but
first
he has
argument
been
the
active though.
Democrats. He might be active, but I'm just saying the first argument the liberals are going to have was, well, you said Kamala didn't do anything. Well, what did
Yeah, I got
Vance
you.
do? I want him to
Yeah,
literally be a czar for something. I want him to be
I
in
got you.
charge of this or this or
Yeah,
this. Actually, multiple things. Give him as much shit as you can, because at some point, enjoy the time right now. Trump is going to start decaying. He
yeah,
will. He's too. He looks great right now, and I love his energy. He's not going to be like that in 2028. It's just not possible. He's going to start slowing down, and I pray that he
yeah.
doesn't, go to the point that Biden was. But give Vance some shit. If Vance picked Byron Donalds, dude, the Democrats are going to have to call Byron Donalds a white supremacist.
Yep.
They're going to lose. Vance Donalds for 8 years, then fucking Byron Donalds after that. Who are they gonna put up against Byron Donalds? Like AOC? Byron Donalds for 8 more years. There's your 20 years right there.
Nah, bro, you're. I
No,
agree with you,
dude,
man.
no cap. No cap. That one's gonna stick with me.
Yeah, Byron Donalds definitely has. He's definitely got the Riz, man. He's definitely got the Riz for it.
He's got the total Riz. He's got the
Yeah,
five check.
he's. Yeah, man. But like I said, man, he fucking DeSantis pissed me off, man. You know,
Yeah, he's
he pissed me
frustrating
off.
because he flips flops back and forth.
Yeah,
He wants to do good things, and you know what? With all due respect to his wife, I mean, I don't know anything about her.
Wasn't
Just
she just
because
like a
she's
teacher? That was it?
yeah, I mean, just because she was DeSantis's wife, that doesn't mean that she's automatically getting my vote for governor.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
but
just
you know
like the
what they're
same thing
doing?
with Lara Trump. I don't like it when they were talking about Lara Trump being the next senator. I'm like, well, what the fuck is Lara Trump qualified to be senator
Yeah.
for? I don't know
I
anything
agree.
about her
Well,
besides
we
what you
both
found out
agreed. We
on the
talked about
news.
that. I was like, hell no. Jonathan says, so it would be really funny to watch the left have no power for a decade.
No, dude, 20 years. 20 years. We could do it.
Yeah, we
If
can.
if
We got
Trump
it. We just can't
if
be milk
Trump
toasty, man. Like,
if Trump and Elon were to call me and just put me in their cabinet, that is what I'd be telling them right now. I'd be
yeah,
like, dudes, come on. Come on.
yeah. He's DeSantis with his wife is doing the whole fucking the Clinton thing. Putting his wife in and trying to put her in the office and stuff like that, like what Clinton did with his wife and supporting. It's just fucking, it's dumb, man. It's just dumb. And like New York, I knew New
Not
York was gonna vote for her. She was actually losing to who the fuck was she losing to? God, for the life of me, I can't remember. He had to drop out.
Sanders?
To Giuliani. She was losing to
Oh,
Giuliani. Okay, but he had cancer, so he had to drop out. All right. And then Janine
convenient.
Pirro fucking went up against her, and then that was it. But it was Mayor Giuliani
Well,
was crushing her.
funny story. Funny story. How convenient. Because it was not that long ago. People in Florida probably remember that Casey had the C as well. And
Wow.
do we all forget how she like literally was like on death's door? DeSantis like took a vacation for 2 weeks, like disappeared from the public eye, came back, and and miraculously Casey's cancer was gone. Did we all
Yeah.
forget that?
No, I remember she was battling
I
cancer.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, not battling it anymore.
Right.
Gone, just like that. And then people were wondering like why DeSantis was even in the race. I believe you want to talk about conspiracy theories. I believe that the powers that be cured her cancer, and they were the ones that forced DeSantis to run for president in 2020. It would be 2024.
Hmm.
He didn't want to do it. They told
Yeah,
him they
man.
put enough
I
money
don't put
behind
shit
him, and they
past
were like, no, no,
anybody,
no,
man.
you're gonna run, dude, because we just gave you like $500 million. You're gonna fucking run. That was their hope. That was just one of the bullets in the chamber that they were gonna try to knock Trump out. They thought
Yeah.
DeSantis had the clout to do it, and he didn't have nothing compared to Trump.
No, man. Bro, he
Nothing.
wasn't even, bro, fucking Nikki Haley was beating him in places, man. Like, when Nikki Haley is
Dude,
beating you, you're having problems,
he
man.
beat he. Don't forget, DeSantis beat Haley in Iowa.
Yeah, that I
Haley
know.
came
But
in third, and that
yeah,
still was still a distant second from where Trump went.
yeah. Yeah, it just he listened to the wrong people, and again, like you said, I don't push shit past anybody. It wouldn't surprise me if they took care of her stuff, and then they were like, "You're gonna run, whether you like it or not." Um, and he definitely wasn't ready for prime time. He showed that shit quickly.
No, he was smart enough to get out as early as he did. Like Haley
Oh yeah,
fucking she went down. Haley went down with the ship. Haley was like,
yeah. She went.
I'm do or die till the end.
Yeah, that's
Like
ego though.
DeSantis
That was
was
all
smart.
ego for her.
It was.
Yeah, DeSantis isn't a dummy, right? He's politically savvy. He knew he stood no chance.
Or, you know what? Maybe Haley was forced to stay in. Maybe she was
Uh,
forced to stay in because they still remember they still had hope that Trump was going to get convicted and be in
yeah,
jail.
her military her Mike people, the military industrial complex people were the ones and Democrats were supporting her. So but her Mike
Yeah.
people definitely wanted her fucking in for sure, right? Because there was gonna be, look, she's a warmonger, right? She's still talking about war in Ukraine and shit, right? It's like nobody's
Mm-hmm.
listening. It's like nobody is
Yep.
listening to her, and
Nobody
she still
wanted that
drops
shit.
shit. It's like, come on, just like nobody's paying attention. This dude is ready to sign over fucking mineral rights to the United States just to fucking have some protection. And
He's
again,
gone.
if we're gonna fucking be dabbling in another country, okay, I might as well let's take their minerals, right? We need it anyway.
That's probably more valuable than anything else they can give us.
Yeah, they can't give us
They
anything
all
else other than
they owe
the
us that
wheat that
shit.
they
You know
got
what?
going on.
Yeah, when
What's
they
that?
talk about like when what's his face Zelensky gets up there on the fucking microphone and talks about how they're not paying back shit.
Yeah.
Um, Trust me, they don't have to pay back shit. If we get the
Nope.
mineral rights, we'll fucking
Yeah, that's it.
that's like 100 times of what's worth whatever we
Yeah, I
gave
was
them
about to say.
already.
Yeah, he's not. You think? Come on. You think fucking Trump is not worried about? He listen. He's not worried about what Zelensky says because, like we just said,
Well,
okay, if we get mineral rights, it doesn't mean shit anyway. He's gonna get tenfold of whatever we
mhm.
gave him out of that, you know. And it's not. It's
That's
just
why
a
he
whole
wanted
bunch of different.
Greenland. I
Yeah,
think that's why he
that's
wanted Greenland too.
yeah. And they by the way, you know, we joke about Greenland and stuff like that, but yes, they have minerals that we need. But Greenland itself has been wanting independence from Denmark for a very very long time. The Danes have not been good to them. Okay, and for I'm talking about decades, they've been trying to find a way to become free. That's what they just need to get their declare their independence. Say
Can
fuck
you
it.
imagine? Can you imagine what the U.S. would do with a place like Greenland?
Oh my god.
I mean, they would fucking. I mean, I know it's far north. I don't know what
Yeah,
the exact latitude is. I know it's probably as far north as maybe like Alaska or something like that. But they
yeah,
would
it's up there.
fucking. Americans would fucking colonize the shit out of it.
I know, in a heartbeat.
They would.
In a fucking heartbeat, man.
They
And
would.
by the way, and keep it green. Well, it's actually they call it Greenland. It's really ice,
It's more
and
ice
stuff
than
like
anything
that.
else. But
Y-
honestly,
y-
I mean, they would. We know they're going to mine the crap out of it, so they would have all that going. But whenever
Yeah,
you have that, I mean, that's going to build wealth. All of
yeah,
those, that's like it's like up in Alaska. All these guys that work up there, they
yeah,
make a shit ton of money, and they need to spend it somewhere. You
yep.
know, I mean, that there's bad that comes with that as well as the good. But
Yeah. I
you'd
mean,
have
and
all these
listen,
like well paid men who are doing these tough jobs.
yeah,
They'd grow those damn cities.
yeah. There's also, yeah, I know. There also the bad stuff that comes with that too is because the men outnumber the women up there, and it's bad up there for certain things. But you know, Greenland's pretty small.
And and you know what? They'd be fucking like an hour. They'd be like an hour flight away from Iceland, which has like some of the hottest clubs in the world.
Oh my God,
Some of the
Reykjavik
hottest
is
women.
is insane, man.
It's sick. It's like in
Yeah,
Ibiza,
and
like up there. It's crazy.
yeah, Nina said Iceland is green and Greenland is icy. She said, "Who did that? The Vikings did that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They're Vikings
It's
up there."
crazy.
You know, but
Yep.
again, like they've been wanting independence for quite some time now. The Danes have not been good to them. They trust me, they welcome being a Commonwealth of the United States in a fucking heartbeat. With American
They would.
citizenship and the benefits of being American, they would do it in a heartbeat. You
Yep.
know, it's not even about independence for them, you know, because they know that, you know, which the reality is if they were independent and actually did stuff with the minerals, they'd be a really rich nation very, very fast. It wouldn't take that long, you know, to be a rich nation. But I think they would just want
They
the
would.
benefits of becoming American citizens and being able to travel to the United States and not have to worry about anything, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're thinking up there. You know, I don't
Yeah,
obviously don't know
Greenland.
the full pulse. Um, and stuff like that.
Think,
I
think
told you
of
we
all the
got Rogue
Europeans that
Nina.
would go to Greenland. Think of all the
Yeah.
Europeans that would go to
Huh?
Greenland just to visit the U.S.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Or think of all the Europeans that would go to Greenland and become citizens prior to that happening, just so they could become American.
Yep, they would. They're not
The
that far.
Vikings would go in friggin' mass. Yeah. Speaking of the great up north, I know Rogue Nina got us. She got us a Canadian conservative. So I want to thank Rogue Nina. We got Keith Bragg coming. I want to say next Friday, because this Friday we got the Patriot panel, which reminds me I got to reach out to some people. Siaka's said he last I spoke to him, he said he's coming Friday, so we're good with him. I'll check again. I have to check. I meant to do that today, but I was kind of swamped with work at work today, being that it's my last week. I was trying to make a little extra money. Yeah, Jonathan, it was the Vikings. So you got anybody you got anybody you think I should reach out to for the panel? You think
For who?
for the panel on Friday? Just see if they're available.
Have you? Oh, how many more people do you need?
Well, we got Siaka. I'm gonna reach out to JD. I meant to do that today, because he wasn't able to make the last one because of a business meeting that he had to go to. If he had to
Mhm.
travel, I'm gonna see if he's available. But is there anybody in particular you think I should reach out to see if they're available? Who's been on the show?
Um, you might want to check with Ashley Oyama again.
She's been sending me some stuff. You're absolutely
She's
correct.
because
She's been sending.
she's got some shit going on that might be good. Might make
Yeah,
good to
yeah, yeah,
kind of spread the word on Friday. There's
yeah,
some
yeah,
new
yeah. You
Hawaii
know what? That's a
bullshit.
good. I think that's a good move. I will reach out to her, see if she's available for Friday,
Yeah,
especially because it's the we going into the weekend. She might have the time to hang with us because we had her on a Monday, right? When we had her
yeah,
on,
maybe.
I'll reach out to her. See if yeah, man, that'd be good. That way she can update on the bullshit that's going on. Because she thinks
Mhm.
there's a whole thing with the voting and everything. She thinks she might have actually probably won, and with
Yeah, that's
all
what
the
she
bullshit
said.
that's going
She
on.
might have.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah. So
They
yeah,
actually
that's a
have
good one
proof
too.
now.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna reach out to her. She's actually what behind us in time?
Yeah, yeah.
5 hours and
At
five
least
hours.
5 or 6. I think it's 6.
Yeah, I'll reach out when we get off here in a little bit. I'll what do you call it? I'll tag her on the in a
Yeah,
DM.
it's not even dinner time there yet. You could you could probably
Yeah,
text
because
her.
I think when we came on, it was like right. It was like 3 o'clock or something like that. It was 8 here and then
Mhm.
3 o'clock there. Right. It was like
Yep.
3 p.m. or some shit. So I think it's like 5 hours behind.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, I'd like to get her to update us. That'd be pretty cool. And then yeah, if you think there's anybody else, just freaking DM me tomorrow if you
Okay.
think there's a few people I should get a hold of. I think five is good. I don't think anything more. We
Yeah.
don't need anything more than five.
No, five or 6 would be good. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to I think we had six last time, right? Or seven actually. But I think five or
I
six
think it
is
was.
pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was stacked last time.
Yeah. But I'll reach out to
Right.
Siaka. I'll reach out to JD. I'll actually reach out to Nick to see if he's doing anything.
Okay.
Nick seriously, see if he wants to come back. Like I reached out to him, but I didn't reach out to him again because I know he's doing the producing and shit like that. Like he's been a little bit busy because he said he was going to be directing. He was going back to doing movies and shit and
Yeah.
stepping away from the documentaries. Um, but yeah, but yeah. So we got this Friday, fam. We have the Patriot panel. We're working on getting some more people. We'll definitely have a lineup for you. So don't worry about that. We'll have people hanging with us on Friday to what do you call it? Get into some Patriot shit with us.
Hmm.
Wednesday, if she's feeling better, the Chris influence will what do you call it? Be with us. Would be with me
Hmm.
on Wednesday. If not, it'll just be me. But I will be coming back Wednesday. I'm taking Thursday and Friday off this week, by the way. So I actually have time for shit because I'm not waiting
There you
for.
go.
I'm just not. My last day is Monday. They're laying me off,
Hmm.
and I would have to wait 45 days for them to give me the 2 days of vacation I have left. And then they're gonna tax the shit out of it, to pay me for it. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna take the fucking days
Just take
and
it.
just chill out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why not?
and just get some shit done that I need to get done anyway.
Hmm.
And stuff. And then next week, man, it's just freaking. I have more time. I'll
Yeah.
definitely have more time to make videos and shit. But anyway, that's what we got
Sure.
going on, fam. Wednesday I will be back with the Chris influence if she's feeling good. Friday is our Patriot panel, our second Patriot panel. Just so you guys know, that's something that we'll be doing. What do you call it? Every at the last Friday of the month. And what
Mhm.
happened? What's that, Rogue? Says I've seen Victoria's adorable little face on Scott's feed a couple times lately. I gave her a follow. Remember, my number one account got zucked yesterday. So yes, Rogue Nina, Nina, put your thing in the what do you call it in the chat for people.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, she did get
She got
zucked.
yeah, she got
A few
zucked.
people got zucked this week. I gotta do shout outs for all of them.
Uh, Jonathan is nowhere but here. He's banned from absolute. He's the most banned man on earth. Jonathan can't go anywhere. He's the only thing he could do is moderate. Ain't that right, Jonathan? You're banned from everywhere. Actually, he's on Discord too with me. That's how him and I met. Yeah, that's the only reason why Jonathan has never never dropped here in Discord. That's it. Yeah. So if you have a Discord account, you can find him. And it's Jonathan Stevie as well there, so you should be able to find him if you're on Discord for anything. All right, Rogue Nina Rogue Nina put her info in the chat for you guys,
Nina
so
too.
just
She
go
should be
give her
easy
a
enough to
follow.
find.
I know. Uh, this is for you, Nina. She says, Nina, I'm still banned from following on my main, but I followed you back. Good. That's what we like to do here. Constantly building the family up. We got to build our community of truth seekers and truth tellers here on Break the Machine
Mhm.
podcast. We need that. We need that heavy demolition crew to break through shit constantly. That's what we need to do.
Mhm.
So if you're just joining us, we're actually getting ready to sign out in a little bit here. We had Shane Jenkins on today, J6 political prisoner. Definitely go back and watch the interview in the beginning. He had a lot of information about himself and whatnot and what he was doing. We are going to have him back at some point. He agreed to come on and hang out and just to talk some Patriot shit with us. Wednesday night, we have myself and the Chris Influence, if she's okay. And Friday night, we have the second Patriot panel. Something like I said, we're gonna be doing that every Friday, the last Friday of every month. We'll be putting a panel of people who've been on the show, and there's just so much to talk about, guys, that it's like we can't get it in just 2 hours. There's so much shit that
There's a lot.
this last month has been so heavy with shit to talk about. I'm telling you, we missed telling you stuff because one, we're putting it out during the day on our Instagram. But it's so hard. There's so much shit to cover. I can't keep up sometimes. If you'd like to support the channel, there's a buy me a coffee link at the top of each chat in both Rumble and YouTube. So with that said, Scott, you got anything for them, brother?
No, I'm getting ready to head out very soon. I'm
Okay.
beat. Had a very long day.
Yeah, no, you said you
But
were
I,
fucking heavy
I
today.
appreciate everything. Yeah, it was a long day.
It is what it is, brother. You know me,
No.
man. I'm never gonna give you shit. I'm never gonna give you shit, man. It just listen. You do a great favor to not only the channel but just to our viewers and stuff like that. Constantly bringing good information and whatnot. We all have lives outside of
I
this,
try to
man.
bring good people too.
Now you do. You bring a lot of fucking great people, man. Part of this show's success, a big part of this show's success, is the fact that you brought some heavy hitters, man. Some people who know their shit and they bring their A game everywhere they go and they come on the show and they educate our viewers and that's what's important, right? Is constantly giving them the truth. Because we have nothing but truth seekers and truth tellers in our chat. So with that said, while I still have him, let me say thank you to everybody tonight. Let me thank Rogue Nina for coming in and hanging with us tonight. And thank you, Victoria. See, this is the second night you're with us. Just keep tuning in and hanging with us. We love you. And Rosie Riveters dropped in and said, "What's up?" And like to again thank Shane Jenkins for coming in and hanging with us and whatnot. Scott Tampa, thanks for coming.
Love Scott
uh,
Tampa.
yeah, Scott Tampa is awesome. He always has some good shit. And of course, we can't leave Jonathan Stevie, our moderator. He's just always fucking getting shit done for us, making sure that the things are running well in the chat. Uh, he's got a green light now to just freaking any trolls that are coming in. We're not dicking around anymore. He's got fucking just handle them. Show no quarter anymore. That's after you guys light them up because like when the trolls come in, we actually enjoy seeing your comments and watching you guys rip people apart. It's always good to watch. So, all right, man. I will take us out, brother.
All right.
Well, America, that's another episode of Break the Machine podcast. And tonight we had Shane Jenkins, J6 political prisoner. Please go back if you tuned in a little bit later. Go back and watch the episode. It was really, really good. Really good interview with him, and he had some pretty good knowledge to drop. He'll come back and hang with us at some point. And again, Wednesday night, myself and the Chris Influence, if she's feeling okay, I'm going to reach out to her tomorrow, make sure she's better. And then Friday night is our Patriot panel. Once again, we will be doing that every Friday. I'm sorry, the last Friday of every month. We're going to be doing that, bringing people on who have been on the show. So Scott and I will be working on bringing some people in, so we have a good lineup for you guys on Friday. All right. So, with all that said, I am the Big Red One guy signing out, reminding you that together and only together we can break the machine. God bless you all. God bless America, and I will see you on Wednesday, fam. Have a good night.